All right, guys. For today, I just want to show you a few things in chapter 7 and chapter 12. I'm not expected for you to, you're not expected to know this or um, really. I just want you to be exposed to it so you know that it is something that you can do. It's not something that you really need to know as far as beginner Excel or even as part of the accounting class that we're going to be going into. But I do want you to just get a view of what this portion is because it does apply when you go into the future and you're working at something that has to do with accounting, right? It will apply in the future if you're working with a company because when you're working with a company, you're going to be dealing with multiple workbooks and multiple data sheets. So you're going to be having a lot of these information, and you want to try to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to either jump through workbooks or be able to to navigate all your data and put it either all in one place or just make it a lot easier for you to work. So what chapter 7 really goes into is basically the main part of it is basically going to look at data and see how they're spread apart. They're from 2 different sheets. They're from 3 different sheets, XYZ, right? Now, again, I'm going to show you a few shortcuts that I also know as well as also things that we did look at in the class earlier. And also, I want to show you a few nifty things here as well. So in chapter 7 per se, it's going to talk to you up. It's going to explain and also show you that when you are creating your Excel spreadsheet, what you can actually do is you are able to save this as a template for you to use in future projects, or maybe you need to use the same exact table. Now, there is one way you can do it, and this is what I've been doing. And it's actually, to me, it's useful. But the only problem is what happens is I have to reformat it, or I have to structure it all over again. So what I'm doing right now is I'm highlighting this entire table, and I'm going to click copy, right? And if you could see, oh, I guess it didn't allow me to do that, but if I were to select this entire graph or this sheet, and if I do my running and, so I have this sheet copied, I could go to a blank one, select any cell, and I can apply it that way. The only problem is now I have to adjust every single window because now not all the information has been shown. But this is a quick and easy shortcut that you can do when you are creating the same exact worksheet over and over for your specific company. Okay, so this is the quick and easy way. The second way you can also do that is let's say you want this table, right? You want to repeat this one again. You can right click it and make a copy of it. And I want to make it in the same exact one. So hold on, I'm going to cancel this again because I need to make a new sheet. Now I'm going to name this January. Oh no, actually let's do March. Okay. I'm going to name that one March. I'm going to click daily. So this is where my table's at. And I'm going to go ahead and click move and copy. And what's going to happen is going to show me that I'm going to make the exact copy in March. And I'm going to click OK. And what I notice is in March, well, okay, it created a new, wait, where did it go? Wait, where did it go?
You did not highlight. Oh, that's not necessarily mean you have to highlight to move.
No, you should be able to go ahead and click make a copy. Oh, okay. So I didn't specify making a copy. So I want to make a copy, and I'm gonna click OK. And then in my March so I have a date. I have one right here. It's not in March, but because I let it know that I want it in the same workbook, it created the exact replica um, of that exact template. And it's going to save everything as far as your formulas as well. So when you copy it as well, it's going to copy all the formulas that you have in that table. So either way, all of this is going to it's just a way to create and reuse the same tables over and over and over again. Now, what Excel does too, it also makes it so convenient that you can save this as a template file. Okay, so if I roll down and look through my options, I have text, uncoded, Microsoft. I think it was at the top, my template file. And by doing so, that means every time here, Excel template, I'd be able to save it as a template. Now, I've already saved it as a template, so I'm going to go ahead and save it again. And it's going to ask me yes. All right. Now, because I don't want to actually be able to, I don't want to mess with my Microsoft program. But I can show you what happens when you do actually end up saving that template, right? So we saved it as volume summary, right? Or call summary, right? So every time I create a new sheet, right, I'd be able to click it and click insert. Now it's going to give me options on what I want to see. Do I want to insert a sheet, a chart? Well, no. I want to select a preset template. So in this case, right here, because I didn't save it into the actual location, which is going to be in your program files under templates folder, I didn't actually save it there. Like I said, because I don't want to interfere anything with the actual Microsoft program. But here, if I were to save that template in that exact folder, it would apply it here, and I'd be able to see it right here. I'm going to go ahead and click time card. And what's going to happen is it's going to open up your template, so you'd be able to enter in data just as is. So if I wanted to, I could have opened this one, and it could have created the sheet right in the designated location that you wanted to. Okay, so that is 3 easy ways that you can recreate a table for the purpose for your company, right? You could either copy and paste it. You could either create another sheet with the same exact information, or you can create a template and be able to apply it into the worksheet. So again, if I were to go into sheet 1, I would just right click it, click insert, and I would go into this second tab over here, not general, but the second tab, and I'd be able to open up my template file there. Okay, so of course with Microsoft, you also have the capabilities. Okay, so here I'm on home, but if I were to go to new, I do have a capability of using a preset online template that Microsoft offers. Okay, so for example, you can create calendars, right? So that's most popular, widely one used that Excel offers is you can create your calendars, you can create schedules, you can create portfolios. Okay, so you can even create little check-in logs, weekly logins, right? Or you could create like a little graph for you to check mark every day. So these are preset ones, and they're already pre-designed with colors and all. And every time you select one, it's going to populate styles in relations to the template file itself. So yes. So again, if you like one of these and to use for your company, you can go ahead and use it and be able to make sure you memorize which one that you're looking for, because oftentimes I believe these do change every once in a while. But the great thing about that is, let's say you forgot which one you used, you could go ahead and search it in here and be able to find it that way. Okay, so for example, I want to look up a calendar. Okay, I type in calendar, and what it's going to do is it's going to use the web to look up calendars for you. Okay, and then again, you can choose it based on its appearance. And again, if you like to, let's say I like this style, but I want it in a different color, you're able to do that as well. But the purpose of having these is it's already preset and it's already made for you. So like if I were to do this, it would open up this file for me, but I would have to download it, which is fine. I can go ahead and download it, but this is a cute little summer calendar I can use, right? It's pretty cute. And yeah, so they have preset ones, and then you could go through every single one that they offer. Okay, so that's what Microsoft can do for you, is it has preset templates, and you can also create your template like this. Now, I might go ahead and delete all my sheets here, just because they're kind of everywhere. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to click OK. So again, this one you're going to have to delete one at a time. You can't select all of them and delete them. But what I can do is, so notice that I'm going through every single one. I have March here, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Now, the second thing in chapter 7 is going to teach you is how to consolidate. Now, you do have a couple options on how you can consolidate, right? Here, an easy way to consolidate, for my understanding, is, let's say I do my January one in here, okay? I can recreate a brand new worksheet in here. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then now that I notice I have daily 3, I'm going to move that over here. And move daily number 1 over here. Or I can move daily 2. And move daily 1 over here. And what I notice is now I have the same exact table in daily 2 and daily 3. Now I'm going to change this to February. Yep, I have February here, right? Now what I can do is, because I opened up January and February's phone calls, right? What I can do is I can actually, this is a lazy, but it's also a quick and easy way. I could just go ahead and copy this information, and I could go ahead and go to my original one and transfer it right here in February. Just like that. Okay? Or what I can also do is, I'm going to get rid of January real quick because I don't need that one just yet. So what I can do is I can also go to January. So this one's January. I can right click and click move or copy. And instead of going into this exact one, I'm going to go into my daily sales summary. And I'm going to make a copy. And see, notice that there's no January. So good, I'm able to make a copy of my January. I click OK. And once I do that, if I go into my daily summary, I notice that I've copied the, so here's my template. Here's January's calls, and here's February's calls. Okay, so I'd be able to just transfer information just by doing that. Okay, And then my daily number 2, okay, I can go ahead and build this as March. All right. So, yeah, that's one way that you can consolidate your files, right? You can just keep every single month in here instead of creating a new workbook every time, because they're kind of they're similar. You're repeating the same table over and over again, except you're just doing it by month. And this is one way of you can doing that. Now, the last one I'm going to show you is how to actually consolidate it. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your View tab, okay? And you're going to go ahead and go under, actually, it's going to be under Data. My bad, I'm sorry. You're going to go under Data, and you're going to go ahead and click this little button called Consolidate, all right? Now, what's going to happen is you're going to get a window that looks like this, and it's going to ask you, well, if you're going to make a consolidation, right, what are you going to actually have? And in this case, I want to shrink all of my data. I want to add January and February's phone calls together in one table. So I'm going to do a sum, okay? So again, this is the same thing as doing, remember when we did pivot tables, you could change how the tables collect your information. This is us collecting information from other workbooks, okay? And I want the sum. Now it's going to ask me, well, what do I want to for the reference, okay? Or what do I want to call this table? But in this case, I'm just going to leave it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink it up, because what I want to do is I want to go ahead and access that table. So I'm going to go to View, and then it's going to give me that button where I can switch between workbooks, and I'm going to go ahead and click January, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and highlight all this information right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and expand this, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and click Add. All right, then I'm going to shrink this up again, and then I'm going to go back to View, and this time I'm going to select February's information, and making sure that I'm in my cell reference, okay, since I'm going to select from here to this information here. I'm going to also add that into my pool of information. And what's going to happen is now that I have 2 sets of data, right? One from January and one from February. And what I'm going to do is in my original table, which is this one right here, I am going to create a sum of I'm going to create a sum in my a sum of January and February's phone calls. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. What I notice is it fills in all my information exactly how, it fills in my reference, it fills in my table exactly how I want to see it, right? Exactly how I see it. And each one has its data filled in for how many hours I have according to the times and to January and February's date. Okay, so this is again, you're able to extract and place information in here. Hold on. I'm in the wrong table. This one. There you go. So here I'm going to go ahead and see, as you can see, it placed it right here, and that's not what I wanted. It's because when I originally started, I had my cursor in this one. So I'm going to go ahead and click undo. But other than that, so here it's taking me back to this table. When you start, you should click the actual cell. So that's why it said, it gave me that error code saying my cell reference did not match. but that's okay. So what's going to happen is you're just going to shift these into the correct spots. Let me see if I'd be able to. So this is a summary of all January through February's information. Oh, I forgot to actually cut and paste it in here. Whoops. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to cut it from the table, and I'm going to paste it in here. Okay. Now, yes, it moved the line up, so I'm going to have to just fix that. Again, I just did the shortcut. If I were to redo this correctly, I'd start all over. But I want to make sure we have enough time. So yes, you'd be able to do that. Again, stylistically wise, if you don't like this, you know, change it how you want to. But that is actually how you're going to be able to do this. And I'm going to write some of Jan and Feb. Okay, so you know that this table is meant for the summary of both tables. Okay, so that's where you can consolidate. Another thing that you can do is, one thing that's cool about Excel is you are actually able to reference from multiple workbooks. Let's say I'm going to change this one again, and I'm going to do this one again as Jan and Feb, right? I want to, let's say for this example, on northeast, right? Let's say I want to take a cell from a worksheet. I'd be able to click it like this, and if I were to do enter, my cell will reference the worksheet next door. Okay, I can also reference a workbook, okay, like this, and press enter. Okay, as long as all of the sheets and all of the workbooks are all in one general folder. Okay, as long as your information is nearby for Excel to be able to take the information. So if I actually open this up, right, it tells me that I took this from the January calls workbook. Okay, and this one says that I took it from this workbook, but I took it from the January worksheet. Okay, so you can actually cell reference and use multiple workbooks to piece together your information. So whether you use the consolidation formula, or if you just simply click from worksheet or from a different workbook, you'd still be able to create your consolidate your workbooks that way as well. So there's multiple ways you can do it, and here I just showed you about maybe like 4 different ways to how you can piece together one workbook together. Okay. So that is all for chapter 7. That is all for chapter 7. It's just how to put together your workbook and be able to use it in an easier way for you to, yes. All right. Okay. Yes. So again, this is when you go into the future and you're working with multiple files, with multiple things, and you think it's so cluttering. Instead of have so many windows open, you could just have one spreadsheet open and just have every worksheet be something different. Okay. All right. So instead of creating a bunch of worksheets or workbooks that are related, you can just save yourself instead of opening a whole bunch of files. So for example, I won't have that one, I have this one, and I have this one. Instead of doing that, you want to make it easier for you and just have it all in one book. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to dive into is going to be chapter 12. Okay. So chapter 12 is about macros. Okay. So macros is definitely something that's going to be advanced for you guys. However, it's so easy to use and so easy to create. However, this is definitely going to be something that's a little more advanced. Just because if you don't actually use Excel very often, then this feature would not be really as effective to use in the future. So what macros are? Well, it's actually macros is just the name of it. What macros is it's going to be a set of instructions that you tell Excel to do. What the heck does that even mean? For example, okay, this worksheet, right? If I want it to automatically highlight this whole entire thing and make it bold and change it to the color red, right? I can have Excel do that for me in one click of a button. So instead of me having to click, drag, highlight, click the bold, and then click the red, and then, I don't know, change the size to 10, right? Or actually center it, right? Or and format it into dollar signs, right? I can have all of those done in one click of a button. Okay, so I'm going to undo this whole entire thing real quick so that it only displays this, right? So you're thinking, no way. There's no way you can tell Excel to do that. And yes, you can. You just have to save your workbook as a macros workbook. Okay, so again, that's why I wanted to show you on the page is in order to enable macros, you need to save your workbook as a macros file. So as you can see here, it gives you a little explanation of the difference between the workbooks that you save. So you can save a regular Excel workbook, right? But that means macros are not enabled, okay? You could, but if you save it with the extension M, it's going to save a regular Excel workbook, but this time macros are enabled, okay? So again, that's the most important thing is in order to have those macros work, you need to save the workbook as a way to allow macros to have access. Now, oftentimes what's going to happen is because macros uses some kind of text language that is similar to online. So it's like, what is it, HTML coding, I would say. So it needs to use the internet. So oftentimes what happens is when you open up the file, you're going to get a little bar at the top, the yellow, the you know, they're talking about the yellow bar at the top that's going to ask you to enable the macros, okay? So that's also you allowing your computer to access that file. Now, they do give you a little disclaimer and a warning that most, you want to be careful if you download a workbook online that has macros because it could potentially be a virus instead of an actual macro. So they just advise you just to be careful. Make sure that whatever macro workbook that you're sharing or displaying is a legitimate one and it's, you know, and it's between either your coworkers or your bosses. Okay, so make sure that you are aware that you know that it's safe to open and to enable. Okay, in this case, these are just the regular classroom files. So for sure, these ones are safe. So yes, so you would want to enable it. Now, let's look at this table carefully. Okay, as you can see, everything is regular and everything is in black font. What's going to happen is I'm going to show you what the macro does. And what it's going to do is it's going to highlight half of these and make them red. And it's going to highlight, I believe it's going to be Southwest. Okay, so here I'm just leaving my table alone. Everything is clean. It's just the way it is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to View. And then here I have my macros box right here. I can go ahead and click View. And what's going to happen is I have a list of what it can do for me. So I have a highlight, Southwest. And I'm going to show you how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and click Run. Now, if you notice very carefully, just by clicking that one button, we have Southwest in border. We have it outlined and everything is in red and it's highlighted. Okay. You see? So let's do that again. So I'm going to undo. So I'm going to go ahead and let's do it again. So you see how it's like that? I'm going to actually, I can't undo it. Once you do it, you have to, the only way to undo it is by just fixing what is been done. So I would have to just highlight all of this and change it back to black. Or I can close the window and be able to view it that way. Okay, so here it's all black and regular, right? Again, I'm going to go to View. I'm going to go to Macros. All right, I'm going to click that highlight Southwest, and I'm going to run it. And it's going to automatically make certain one of them red, and it's going to highlight Southwest. Okay, so this is 4 or 5 steps of Excel work that you have to take in order to change this information. All right, and how you are able to view that is that you're also able to create it as well as change it. You can edit it if you want to fix something in there. You can also delete it if you don't like that one. I don't like it, so I want to create a different macro, right? You can do that, and then what you want to do is actually not want to do, but if you want to, you can actually go ahead and click this and click Step Into. And what Step Into is actually going to show you step by step of every key that you wanted to do. So it says here, first one, you want to highlight them. Step 2, you want to change the color. Step 3, you want to do all this. So it gives you a list of everything that it wants you to do. And in this case, this is the coding that that Excel does using the internet, or it does the online macros, right? It does the language that we can't really recognize. Now we'll go ahead and click out of this window, and I'm going to click OK. All right. So that's how you view and how you see what a macro does. Now, in this example, I'm going to show you how to create a macro because I think it's a cool thing to learn. All right. It's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. Okay, as you can see, I have a preset table already. It's the same exact table, except this time it only shows me years and it shows me the sales, right? Now, as you can see, 5 out of my 7 data is bolded. Now, I don't want that to appear, and I'm going to create a macro so then next time I see this or next time I open my window, I can just click the macro and it would change it back to normal. Now, yes, you could do this manually, but this is for more like intense, like if I want to do more than one step. But in this case, I'm going to show you how to create a macro first before we can go ahead and dive into a little more advanced macro. So I'm going to go back to macros, and what's going to happen is I'm going to have a choice to record a macro, okay? So when I click record a macro, right, it's going to give me an option to name what I want this to do. For this case, I'm going to do sales on bold is going to be what my macro is going to be, right? And then it's going to ask you other things. You don't need to care about that, so just go ahead and click OK. Now, as of right now, anything I do to this Excel worksheet is going to copy and be applied to the macro. So this one you want to be very careful when you are doing this, because now it's recording every single step you're doing into into Excel. So again, I want to highlight just all. I'm going to highlight all of them because I don't want to. So I'm going to go to my home page. I'm going to click bold once, and I'm going to click. I'm going to click bold twice. Usually, supposed to do it on the second time. Okay, and this time I want it centered. Okay, I want it centered. And I want only 2010, right, the highest value. I want that to be highlighted in yellow. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and go back to view. And I'm going to go to macro, and I'm going to click stop recording. Okay, so again, I said I was only going to do one step, but I did 3 steps instead. All right, now that I clicked and stopped my macro, what's going to happen is I'm going to erase this information. So I'm going to clear out everything, right? I'm going to undo this fill color. I'm going to change it back to no fill. And I'm going to re-highlight these and bold them again, okay? Because I just want to go back to my original table. Now, if I were to go back to my macros, right? I go to view, I go to macros, and I'm going to go view macros, right? I want to make sure I select the correct one. And what I did was the sales unbold, right? If I click run, boom. It's going to apply exactly what I asked it to do in one click. Instead of clicking highlight, click bold, then click out, then click this, and click and drag, and then click that, right? I just saved myself about 1 second, right, of time, okay, by creating a sequence of steps and making it done in one. So this is something that you can apply to your quick access tool, okay? And yes, and that's how you use macros. Again, if you don't like that macro, you can go back to the view macros, and let's say I really didn't like that one, so I can go ahead and delete that. And it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to delete that? I say yes. And what you can do is, again, you can record a new macro, all right? So this is just in case, so this is very similar to the Format Painter tool, okay? You want to do something and you like it that way, you can record the steps to get there and be able to have it done in a click of a button, okay? So that's a little bit of macros. Again, it's a little more advanced, and especially if you're frequently using Excel and you're constantly changing the format of something, you can go ahead and easily apply it by just doing a macro. Just remember, you need to save the file as a macro enabled file for you to have access to do it. All right. And that is pretty much it for chapter 12. Any questions?
None so far. Just a matter of practice again.
Yes.
All those